It's noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. out west, and we are on the hunt here at FoxNews.com Live. Hello, everybody. Let's get to politics now with the panel here in the studio. Tara Dowdell, founder and principal of the Tara Dowdell Group. You can tweet her at Ms. Tara Dowdell. You can tweet me, of course, at Jonathan on FNC. And in our D.C. bureau, Ford O'Connell, chairman of Civic Forum PAC, co-founder of Project Virginia, former presidential campaign advisor, all-round political oracle. Good to see you, Ford.
Thank you for having me on, Jonathan. How you doing, Tara?
We're all good here. Let me get to you first, Ford, on Andrew Breitbart. I mean, this is a day, I guess, it's a desperately sad day, but it's a day to celebrate a man who, as I say, whether you agreed with him or not, is hugely enthusiastic in his beliefs and a very powerful voice on the conservative side, wasn't he?
Absolutely. You know, as a conservative, I didn't know Andrew personally, but I'll say this, he really injected life into the conservative conversation, and for that, many conservatives just can't thank him enough, and today's really a day of mourning for us.
Tara?
Well, I think that I feel very badly, first off, for Andrew Breitbart's family. He has 4 children. I mean, obviously, I disagree with him ideologically on a wide array of issues, but the reality is he's someone's father, and 4 children have lost their father, and I feel very badly for his family and his wife. I don't know what I would do if I lost one of my parents, so this must be devastating for them. Yeah,
very, very sad indeed. All right, let's move on to the political battle now, the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Super Tuesday! Funnily enough, next Tuesday. 11 states in total voting. There they all are. You can see them. Fairbanks, Alaska, Original Merlin. You'll be voting, I assume, next week. That's one of them. There are, I believe, 419 delegates up for grabs. There's the breakdown of the ones, which states they are in. Georgia, the biggest prize, which obviously is Newt Gingrich's home state. Ford, nobody's going to get enough delegates next week, but do you see us waking up Wednesday morning with this race in effect over, even if it is not practically speaking in terms of numbers of delegates?
All that matters is what happens in Ohio. Look, Mitt Romney wants to win Ohio because he wants to downplay, grumblings that he may not be a strong front runner, and Rick Santorum needs to win Ohio because he needs to extend his campaign and he needs to get resources. And let's not forget, Barack Obama's got a huge eye on Ohio, and his super PAC wants to affect it as well because he knows in the general election if he wants to win back the White House, the road goes right through Ohio.
And Tara, it's true. Ohio is a battleground state, isn't it? And it is very important for Mitt Romney to prove he can win in a state like that. If he doesn't, what does it say about this race?
I think it says the same thing it's been saying about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is not a strong front runner. If he was a strong front runner, he would have locked up the nomination in the first 4 contests, which was what his initial strategy was going in. The fact that Rick Santorum, who has said so many insane things lately, is battling him and battling him so strongly, not just saying the things that he said, but with no money on his shoestring campaign. I mean, the guy was practically campaigning out of a pizza parlor in Iowa, and he's really giving Mitt Romney a run for his money, and that says a lot more about Mitt Romney than it does about Rick Santorum.
Oh, Tara, I love it when I get my inside baseball from Democrats. Let me tell you something. Where the GOP really made a mistake was changing the delegate rules with an incumbent in the White House because, frankly, all eyes are on us, and every little gaffe we make, you guys are going to watch. Here's the deal. Even if there was only one candidate on the Republican side running for president, they couldn't amass 1,144 delegates. And frankly, we have 4 candidates. So it's next to impossible in any state, really, to get more than 50%. So to say that Romney's really on his heels because of the fact that he can't close this out, you couldn't conceivably close this out anyway until April. So I understand your little DNC talking point.
You are spinning like a helicopter. I like helicopters, though. The reality is Mitt Romney thought, you and I both know that Mitt Romney was the presumed front runner. He thought he was going to lock this up earlier. Yes, he would not have had the delegate count. You're absolutely right. But he would have had so much momentum, so much strength that people would have dropped out of the race. And that's what he was hoping for, or that he wouldn't have to spend all of this money. And he is spending a lot of money trying to shut Rick Santorum down. Before this, he was spending all this money, all this time trying to shut Newt Gingrich down. A strong frontrunner doesn't have to do that.
That seems to be a fair point.
But let me say this. Tara, if you were so worried about Mitt's problems, why is President Obama, the super PAC, running ads in Ohio trying to sway the election. You guys are scared of Mitt Romney.
Take nothing for granted, because we take nothing for granted, as no one should ever take anything for granted.
Oh, you mean like Rick Santorum, who you're now concerned about because he can actually connect with blue-collar voters and possibly steal away the majority of the Catholic vote in the battleground states in the general election? Come on, you guys don't even know which way it's going.
Do you believe that Rick Santorum is potentially as strong a candidate for the Republicans as Mitt Romney, or do you think Mitt Romney is the better choice in terms of defeating President Obama?
National polls would indicate that Rick Santorum's not. But here's where the DNC and everybody misses the boat. Because of the economy and high gas prices, this whole election is going to come down to 7 states. Hence, 43 states are basically decided regardless of who the GOP puts up there. And what people don't realize, if we look at the USA Today Battleground State poll, we actually recognize that Rick Santorum, at least in the last poll, is leading President Obama by 5 in the battleground states. If my guys can win Virginia, Ohio, and Florida, guess what? President Obama is going to be out of a job in November.
How concerned are you, Tara? We've got good economic news generally over the last couple of months. It's not been bad. But then you have this looming nightmare of potentially $5 a gallon gas, problems in the Middle East with Iran. We could before the election, see an Israeli strike against Iranian nuclear facilities. Who knows where that would take the world? And certainly gas prices. How worried are you that President Obama has a lot of bumps in the road to overcome yet?
Well, clearly this is a challenging election landscape for President Obama. I'm not here to argue otherwise. I do think, though, at the same time, there has been very strong economic news. We found out today that the jobless claims numbers, again, are lower, at the lowest point they've been since 2008. The economy is growing. We found out the economy is growing at a clip of 3%. Last year, the numbers were revised upward. And people are starting to feel better. People are getting hired. A lot of folks are starting their own businesses very successfully. So, which I think is really, as an entrepreneur, I think that's really where the country needs to be going. Sidebar. But let me say this: for President Obama, gas prices certainly won't help him if they continue to stay high. But those prices are also outside of his control. He can't control what happens in the Middle East, for instance. And also, the Republicans are fighting a rule against speculation, and Wall Street is fighting a rule against speculation that the Obama administration is currently trying to implement right now, which would help tamp down some of those oil prices. The reality is
Tara,
that there's studies that show. Hold
now.
on a second. Well, no, you weren't spoken to yet. But the studies have shown that there is a link between speculation and gas prices.
All right. Okay, Ford.
All right, here's the deal. You can tout all the DNC statistics about the economy getting better. The bottom line is the person standing on Main Street in Ohio and Florida isn't feeling any better. It's how they perceive the state of the economy moving forward. As for gas prices, let me tell you something. If they go to 6, Sarah Palin could be president at the rate we're going. Yes, no, you cannot actually draw down the gas prices. Some things are out of President Obama's control due to speculators, but your gas policies are not going to actually help it. You could stabilize it. You talk about an all-of-the-above approach, but guess what? You ignore nuclear, natural gas, and oil. You say domestic production's up, but it isn't due to President Obama's record where production's down on federal lands by 11%. It's due to Bush 43's policies. Bush 43, if anything, could actually save the election for you guys.
All right, I want to let some of our viewers weigh in now on this debate regarding the Republican race in particular. Charles Reese says the Republicans have 4 candidates who've been vetted by independents through this process and the Republican voters. And let's face it, Obama and the Dems do not want to run against Mitt. That is a fake. Mitt not only beat Rick in Michigan, but also Obama. Hendrik Van Dorp III, fabulous name, Hendrik, says Santorum lost the Catholic vote in Michigan. Laurie says Santorum went to the Democrats and begged for votes, and he still didn't win, and Santorum didn't win the Catholic vote. Let's have some perspective here. Mike Carter says Ford is absolutely correct. The greatest enemy of the Republicans are the Republicans themselves, fixing their own rules to make it harder to win. So, a lot of thoughts on what is going on here. Ford, what about this? We talked about this a bit this week, the open primary in Michigan. There will be other open primaries as well, and Democrats getting involved to try to perhaps push the voting one way or another, and Rick Santorum actually appealing to Democrats. Do you think that backfired for him?
I think it did. Let's walk back Michigan for a second. Mitt Romney didn't win Michigan. Rick Santorum lost Michigan. Here's why. On this network, Karl Rove made a very good point. For voters who didn't make their decision until the last 48 hours of pulling that lever, Romney actually won those voters by 8. And the reason why he won them by 8 was because Rick Santorum's college comment and because of his separation versus church and state. And then for those within the last 24 hours, it was the fact that it wasn't the Democrats were going to help him. It was the fact that he fed the robocall. And frankly, Rick Santorum's gaffes are what's going to cause him, caused him to lose Michigan. If he wants to win Ohio, where I might add, he's not on the ballot in a couple of congressional districts, he's going to have to find the right mix between social issues and economic issues. He didn't make a mistake about talking about social issues, contrary to what the media says. What he was doing there is he was trying to differentiate himself from the other 3 candidates because they all have a very similar economic platform, and that economic platform will promote growth far better than anything President Obama will ever do.
Tara, you agree that Rick Santorum lost Michigan rather than Mitt Romney winning Michigan?
Yes, shocker. I actually agree with Ford on that one. I do think that Rick Santorum did lose Michigan. He made a lot of gaffes, and it was the scope of his gaffes that allowed his gaffes to overshadow those that Mitt Romney was making at the same time. I mean, Mitt Romney was speaking at an event talking about how proud he was to have been a part of a Michigan event that happened 9 months before he was born. I mean, this is the type of thing that's going on. But Rick Santorum making a statement about college, saying that Obama encouraging students to go to college makes him a snob. I mean, that's just really over the line. And it's those type of comments that don't play well with independents and moderate Republicans.
What do you make of the focus that Rick Santorum has put on social issues? Or do you believe what some of our viewers have been saying is that we, the media, are sort of forcing him to focus on social issues because we keep asking him about those issues?
Honestly, I think it's a combination of the two. I mean, Rick Santorum has brought up social issues himself. Let's be very clear. He has made that a part of his platform. But at the same time, certainly the media has prompted him on that because a lot of people in the media, look for something that's more controversial. And certainly social issues are far more controversial and typically more divisive.
Hendrik Van Dorp writing in again saying he thinks it's more about Santorum admitting that he voted against his principles to, quote, take one for the team, that famous quote from the debate, Ford. What do you think, though, of Santorum on social issues? Are we the media forcing him to talk about those? Is he right to talk about them? And is that a good way for the Republicans to set themselves up for November?
No, it's a good thing for Santorum to talk about social issues, but social issues will be trumped by economic issues. He has to find the right balance and not over-talk them. He was talking about them and they were shooting his poll numbers up. But what happened was he went too far, and boom, he lost support. What I want to say, though, about this sort of primary system on a back point that Tara made was Mitt Romney is really the only candidate who's positioned to get 1,144 delegates. And what Team Obama's really hoping for is that Rick Santorum wins Ohio and becomes the preferred candidate in the South. If that does occur, Mitt Romney's going to have a very hard time getting to 1,144. We could go to a contested convention, which right now Sean Trendy at Real Clear Politics says is a 20% chance. And I'm going to tell you something, whether it's Santorum, Romney, or a contested candidate, I'm going to tell you something, given where we are in the battleground states and the fact that President Obama ignores pro-growth policies and has done nothing really on the energy side, he's in for a long haul. Now, to say one thing in Tara's favor, in the last 100 years, only 3 incumbents have lost the White House. So guess what? The pressure's on you, not on us. You're going to talk about making the economy better, and we're going to tell you how we're going to do it better and faster.
With the same failed policies?
But let me ask you this. Do you believe President Obama has a much better chance of winning a second term if his opponent is Rick Santorum rather than Mitt Romney?
I do think he has a better chance if his opponent is Rick Santorum versus Mitt Romney. But I still think he has a strong chance up against Romney, too. Let's be very clear. Mitt Romney has flip-flopped in a way. Everybody grants politicians some degree of BS. Everybody does. You give them a baseline. Mitt Romney has jumped over that baseline 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I mean, he has gone beyond. No one knows what Mitt Romney stands for. And some people wonder if Mitt Romney knows what Mitt Romney stands for, especially when you contrast him with his father, who was very outspoken, very consistent for the most part in his views, and supported a minimum wage, by the way. Mitt Romney saying things like, let's let Detroit go bankrupt and all these things, and supporting the Blunt Amendment, and then an hour later changing his mind about the Blunt Amendment.
Which is the contraceptive cover amendment, which has just been defeated in the Senate. On that, Ford, sorry, you wanted to weigh in? You look as though
Tara actually makes a great point. Mitt Romney struggles mightily with conservatives, and Mitt Romney struggles with Southerners. What Mitt Romney really needs to do is sort of keep the Mitt Romney mobile, or all four mobiles, between the white lines, and he needs to focus on the economy and say, here is why you want me, because I'm the key to improving your economic situation.
Ford, it sounds to me, Ford, as though you are, like a lot of Republicans, it seems, less than enthusiastic about a Mitt Romney candidacy.
No, that's not. I'm really neutral in this situation. Here's where I'm concerned. I'm a conservative, and what we're seeing in the Republican Party, we haven't seen it since 1976, is a battle for the party. Are we going to be the party of the status quo or the party of conservative ideals? And that's really where the bumper cars are going. I sit on the conservative ideals side, but one thing's for sure, America can't take 4 more years of President Obama.
All right, Laurie writes in, are people so against Mitt Romney that people are willing to compromise their principles to vote for Santorum, even as he begs for votes from the very people we're going so quickly on here, he claims to stand against? Should Republicans kind of swallow their principles? And would you, in a primary, Tara, you're a Democrat, but in a primary, do you stick by your principles, or do you stick by the person you think is best suited to actually win nationally?
I would answer that question in 2 ways. Personally, I stick by the person that supports my principles. So that's the way I think as a voter. But I do think a lot of people in this Republican primary, the reason why Mitt Romney is leading is because, and first of all, no one knows what Mitt Romney's principles are. That's the bigger issue. But the reason why Mitt Romney is leading is because people are sort of swallowing their principles and supporting him. I actually heard a quote from a gentleman. He said, "I made my peace with the fact that Mitt Romney, a Republican primary voter, I made my peace." That's not the type of thing you want your voters saying leading up to a presidential contest.
Ford, I think it was you who mentioned the brokered convention there, the Real Clear Politics saying 20% chance of it. A couple of our viewers writing in here saying a brokered convention, Mitt will get Ron Paul support, Rand Paul will end up on the ticket. Heather Snow saying, I pray that Mitt will win and team up with Rand Paul or Marco Rubio to pull Tea Party support and the base into the fight. Would that do it, do you think?
That very well could. Look, a contested convention is only a 20% chance right now. We can have this discussion right after Super Tuesday to see if Santorum is sort of the preferred candidate of the South and whether or not he wins Ohio. I will say, though, if you get to a contested convention, there could be other names that are, relatively well vetted that could be thrown in there as well, because once we get past that first vote, anything's fair game, and someone like Jeb Bush, I know Tara's going to say his last name is Bush, but Jeb Bush or Mitch Daniels could get in as well. So we just don't know. But I think, going to a contested convention could really hash out that sort of battle between being the party of the status quo and the party of conservative ideals.
Tara?
Well, first, I'm not going to say his last name is Jeb Bush, because number one, I don't talk like that. But number two, I'm not going to say that because I think the bigger issue is that Jeb Bush and Mitch Daniels aren't going to jump into this race. I really find that the possibility, I just think the possibility is really null and void. But the bigger thing here, though, is that with this campaign, Ford wants to make this point that this protracted primary is a good thing. It is not a good thing for the Republicans to be in this protracted primary.
That's not what I said. I said the rules made it that way, and they literally should have rethought the rules because there's an incumbent in the White House.
All right, I got to wrap it up here, so I want from both of you. You first, Tara. Are we sitting here next Wednesday, noon Eastern, for On the Hunt, saying this is essentially over, Mitt Romney is going to win this nomination, or are we saying, oh my word, here we go again, and it goes on and on?
Well, I think that this is not going to be decided after after Super Tuesday, quite frankly.
Okay, Ford?
This is the craziest primary I've ever seen. If Mitt Romney wins Ohio and does fairly well in the southern states, we're not going to say it's over, but he's going to be the prohibitive front runner on his way to being the presumptive nominee.
All right, Ford O'Connell, chairman of Civic Forum PAC and co-founder of Project Virginia. Great to have you with us, Ford, as it all goes dark in D.C.
Thank you, Tara.
And Tara Dowdell, founder and principal of the Tara Dowdell Group. Great to have you here too, Tara.
Thank you.